Ever catch yourself like daydreaming about, being the one calling the shots in the marketing world, like leading those big campaigns, really shaping how a brand tells its story?
Hmm.
Living that chief marketing officer life.
Ah, yeah.
Well, today we are diving deep, really deep into what it takes to be a CMO, and we're doing it thanks to RoleCatcher.
Okay.
They've got career guides, interview tips. Basically, it's like the ultimate playbook for anyone, even thinking about this role.
Yeah, and it is a pretty fascinating role,
Oh.
gotta say. But the cool thing is RoleCatcher doesn't sugarcoat it.
Right.
They give you the real deal, like what it really takes, not just to become a CMO, but to like really thrive in that kind of environment because it is demanding and it never stops changing.
So true. So when you hear CMO, what's the first thing that pops into your head? I'm guessing for a lot of people, it's those really slick ad campaigns or maybe some viral moment on social media.
Yeah, it's easy to get caught up in the glamour, right?
Totally.
But what RoleCatcher does really well is highlight how a CMO is so much more than just the creative person. You're like a strategic mastermind. The whole marketing strategy for a company rests on your shoulders. It's the big picture stuff like branding, but then also you got to crunch those numbers to make sure every dollar spent actually means something.
So it's like got to be fluent in spreadsheets and Shakespeare.
100%. Yeah. And honestly, that's just scratching the surface. RoleCatcher does a fantastic job, though, at painting this really vivid picture of what a CMO's world is actually like.
Okay, so paint us that picture. What is it like?
Think whirlwind of activity, high pressure, fast paced. You're juggling projects left and right, leading teams, working across different departments. And the biggest thing is just constantly adapting. There's always some new trend popping up.
Intense. So who thrives in that environment? What does it take?
Well, if RoleCatcher is to be believed, and they've got the data, one of those critical skills is, believe it or not, persuasion.
Really?
Oh, yeah. You're constantly pitching ideas, trying to secure budgets, and you got to keep your team motivated. You need to be a master communicator, the kind of person who can articulate their vision in a way that gets everyone on board.
So you're not just getting buy-in from your team, but like from the CEO on down, everyone's got to believe in your vision.
You got it. But it's not enough to just be a smooth talker.
Yeah.
Those ideas, they got to be backed up by rock-solid data.
Can't just go on gut feeling anymore, huh?
Not these days. RoleCatcher really drives home the importance of critical thinking and data-driven decisions. That's a CMO's bread and butter.
So give me an example. What does that look like in action?
Okay, let's say you're launching a new product, right? A CMO might be looking at website traffic data to see which channels are actually working to reach their target audience.
Okay.
So are people finding this product through, say, social media ads, or is it blog posts, or maybe even influencer marketing?
Oh, interesting.
Because those insights, that's what can make or break a campaign. And that means knowing your way around tools like Google Analytics inside and out.
It's like being a detective almost.
Totally.
You're piecing together clues from the data to understand consumer behavior.
You're getting it. And those clues, they're everywhere now. RoleCatcher, they really emphasize how much tech is changing the marketing game. Artificial intelligence, marketing automation, social media, it's changing so fast. A good CMO has got to be a total tech enthusiast, always learning, always adapting to keep up.
Can you give me a concrete example? What does AI-driven marketing even look like?
Imagine being able to personalize marketing messages, but I'm talking massive scale.
Wow.
That's where AI comes in. Let's say you're running a clothing store, right? Using AI, you can look at what customers have bought before, what they're browsing online, even their social media, and then recommend products they're actually going to love.
No more just blasting everyone with the same email.
Exactly. It's all about the right message to the right person at the right time.
That's wild. It's like having a personal shopper for every single customer. But with all this tech, all this data, are we losing that human element in marketing?
Ah, the million-dollar question.
Yeah.
And it's something RoleCatcher gets into as well. Because, yeah, technology is powerful, but you got to remember, marketing at its core, it's about connecting with people.
On an emotional level.
Exactly. And for someone who wants to be a CMO, that's where things get really interesting.
So how do you find that balance then between like the data-driven stuff and that human touch that makes people remember a brand?
Well, that's where the art of being a CMO comes in.
Oh.
It's about taking those data insights and crafting a story, creating experiences people connect with, building brands people actually care about, you know? Take a company like Nike, right?
Yeah.
They definitely use data for their ads, for sure. But their campaigns, They're about inspiring athletes. It's about human potential, tapping into something bigger.
It's like they're not selling shoes, they're selling a feeling.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that connection, that's what makes a brand stand out. So for someone who wants to be a CMO, they've got to get the psychology behind why people do what they do, what motivates them, what do they want. Algorithms can't answer that.
Totally. So we've talked skills, mindset, this whole data versus creativity thing. But for someone just starting out, what does climbing that CMO ladder actually look like?
RoleCatcher actually has a ton of advice on that.
Okay.
And they're big on a multifaceted approach. Like, it's not just about getting some fancy degree and then boom, corner office.
Right.
You got to build skills, hands-on experience, keep learning, and honestly, a little self-promotion never hurts.
Break that down for me. When you say hands-on experience, what kind of roles are we talking?
Internships are great. Entry-level marketing positions, anything where you're actually doing the work. Even volunteering, like if nonprofit needs marketing help or starting your own blog.
Showing initiative.
Exactly. It's about walking the walk. And speaking of, RoleCatcher, they love those industry certifications.
Yeah, you mentioned Google Analytics before.
There you go. Getting certified in Google Ads, HubSpot, Hootsuite, that kind of thing can be huge.
I've heard of those, but for our listeners who haven't, what are those platforms all about?
Okay, so HubSpot, that's marketing automation, helps businesses streamline all their marketing stuff, email campaigns, social media, even finding new leads.
And Hootsuite.
That one's more focused on the social media side. You can schedule posts, track how they're doing, manage everything across all the different platforms.
Okay, got it.
The point is, having those certifications on your resume shows you're not just tech savvy, you know how to use the tools that matter.
Or like a marketing tech black belt.
You got it. Always adapting, because the digital world never sits still.
So you've got the experience, you're building your skills, you're a tech whiz. What else does RoleCatcher say is essential to reach that CMO level?
Networking.
Ah, the dreaded networking.
And I don't just mean grabbing business cards at some event, though, hey, it's a start. It's about building actual relationships. Go to conferences, join industry groups, even connect with people on LinkedIn.
It is a people business after all, right?
Yeah, 100%. That person you chat with at a conference today could be the one recommending you for your dream CMO job tomorrow.
It's all about connections. So let's talk about that dream CMO job interview. RoleCatcher has this giant database of interview questions, something like 120,000, all tailored to specific roles. What's the deal with that?
It's kind of genius, actually. Think about it. You walk into an interview and you've already got a sense of what they might ask. You're prepared for those curveball questions.
That's a lot of questions, though.
It's not about memorizing answers.
Okay.
It's about using those questions to really think through your experiences, how you approach challenges.
So 120,000 opportunities to reflect, basically.
Exactly. Because in those high-pressure interviews, it's not just what you know, it's how you think on your feet, how you handle the pressure.
So less about marketing buzzwords, more about showing your thought process.
Exactly. That's where those experiences, those late nights working on your blog, everything, it all comes together to show who you are as a marketer.
It's like your marketing journey, your own story.
And that story, that's what makes you memorable, what makes you stand out.
It's about owning that narrative. We've talked a lot about the present, how to become a CMO. But what about the future? What's RoleCatcher say about the CMO of tomorrow? It feels like marketing is changing faster than ever these days, you know? What's RoleCatcher have to say about what's next? Like, what are the big challenges, the opportunities for the CMO of, like, tomorrow?
Well, they point out this really interesting paradox,
Okay.
which is that as technology keeps advancing, especially AI, automation, all that, the human side of marketing actually becomes even more important.
Really? That seems kind of counterintuitive, but
Right.
I guess it makes sense, though. When you talk about algorithms and data all the time, it's easy to forget there's a person on the other end of all that.
Exactly. So the CMO of the future, it's not enough to be a tech expert or a data guru.
Right.
They need that human touch, kind of know how to use all these powerful tools, but to create something that people actually connect with. Imagine, like, brands anticipating what you need before you even know it.
Wow.
Marketing that doesn't feel intrusive, but actually helpful.
Okay, now that is next level. It's like, what, those personalized recommendations you get on streaming services, but for everything.
You got it.
Yeah.
And even beyond that, imagine a travel company. They know where you've been, what you like. Using AI, they build you a whole itinerary, fits your budget, everything, completely tailored to you.
That'd be pretty cool, I'm not going to lie.
Right. Or what about healthcare? using data to predict health issues before they even happen, recommending ways to stay healthy.
Okay, that's both really cool and kind of creepy.
Right.
But in a good way, I guess.
It's a fine line,
Yeah.
which is why the CMO of the future, they've got to be thinking about the ethics of all this.
Oh, for sure.
Making sure data is used responsibly, that people feel comfortable with it. That's a huge part of the conversation happening in marketing right now.
Makes sense. So it's not just about selling stuff anymore. It's a much bigger responsibility.
Exactly. And honestly, that's what makes this such an exciting time to be in marketing.
Yeah.
We're on the edge of this whole new era.
Yeah.
Creativity, technology, and really understanding human nature that's going to shape how brands connect with the world.
So to all those future CMOs out there listening, embrace the data, learn the tech, but don't forget about telling stories that mean something. That's how you make a connection that lasts.
Couldn't have said it better myself. At the end of the day, the best brands, they remember there's a real person behind every data point. Hopes, dreams, a story waiting to be told.
And that is a wrap on our deep dive into the world of the chief marketing officer. From data to, well, just being human, the future of marketing is going to be wild. So whether you're just starting out or you're climbing that ladder already, keep learning, stay curious.
Hear, hear.
The marketing world is your oyster.